Welcome to How Not to Big Wall with real rock.
Finally.
Bet you can't guess which one of us is leading.
This guy, he's gonna free solo this. So I'm bringing what I would bring on this climb specifically. This crack is primarily gonna be about thin hands to thin tips the whole way. So I don't have my typical rack that I showed in previous episodes. I don't have the 4 and the 5 because I don't need them on this climb. So this is gonna be a very real application of me actually doing a real aid climb and the pace and movement and thought process that goes into it.
And we've already fixed a line. So I'm gonna be ascending next to him on that fixed line, which will actually be his haul line. So he will haul with the line I go up on, and you're gonna be able to see this bag leave the ground and him hauling that bag. Now the goal of this video is to give you A to Z what we've been covering in the last 11 videos. This is us stitching together one pitch of a big wall, A to Z, including a changeover to where actually I won't be leading. We're just gonna make sure I get up there, I get docked, and then
I'm gonna get ready for the next pitch.
This area is not a big wall, but what's actually really cool is we could practice climbing this 513 in order to prepare for a big wall. This is actually where I brought Andrea to practice aid climbing for the first time. And this climb, no one's trying to climb it right now. We're out of everyone's way. And just be respectful of the fact you'd be on a crack a while.
And I'm intentionally doing a route that not a lot of people typically do free. This route, a lot of people do climb it in aid, even though it does go at 13 plus. But that's also to stay out of people's way. Don't go on to 5/8s and 5/9s to practice aid climbs because those are typically ones that people like to get on. So because we're actually outside, Ryan, I want to make sure that we communicate well. What can we do today?
Nice transition. Communication is very essential to stay safe and to know what someone's doing. Rocky Talkie has been the most reliable thing I've ever had for communicating when I'm not in cell range, which most of my projects are not, including where I am right now. I hit them up to ask them if they could be a part of what we're doing now, and they invested into making this big wall course free for you guys. And so I really appreciate them and the fact that they're giving you a 10% discount with rockytalkie.com/hownotto, just like the hownottoswag.com merch that you could get. All different ways you can contribute, including making either a written form or a video form contribution towards the Big Wall Bible. And that is where we can add thoughts we've had after. Once I hit publish on these, it's done. But then you can too, because we approach big walls very differently. And it's kind of cool to see that you can skin this cat 2 very different ways. But then I want to see what racks you guys like and how you might place different things, or tips I've never seen before, because I only have 18 successful walls. Other people have hundreds. And I'm excited to see how big that thing can get if people can contribute. And you can find that on hownottto.com.
I'd like to see some big names out there, including like Mark Udon and Pete Zabrock and, for instance, Tommy Caldwell, to like chime in on these would be really cool. So if you share this post and share this episode, maybe it'll reach them as well. It'd be kind of cool.
But it's really fun to show everything we've been talking about in real life, A to Z. Climb on. Oh wait, this is for Andrea. She's the belayer.
Yeah.
I'll be right next to you the whole time.
Andrea is going to be displaying a classic big wall belay here. So take a look.
This is the most comfortable belay I've ever had.
Nice nuts.
Thanks, babe.
Even though on a big wall you do want to have a comfortable belay, you still need to be attentive, paying attention to your climber, because big falls can still happen in aid climbing. Yes, you want to get comfortable because it's a long belay, but it is still just as valuable. So keep your hand on the brake strand and be looking up and checking in with your climber once in a while.
Your bag is docked right there. The haul line's already on it.
We got everything set up for starting the first pitch of a climb.
Okay, it looks like you're anxious to free climb. Why are you free climbing?
Because I have to get up to my first placement. Anytime that I can still free climb, I still want to, even if it is in my approach shoes. You still want to try to get as much ground covered as soon as you can. So I'm placing my piece in. Now I'm getting my ladders ready. And I'm going to clip it to the top thumb loop to that. And my alfifi is going to be ready to deploy the whole time, and it's just going to switch between different pieces. So before I fully commit to this piece, I am going to give it a bounce test. Oh, I can see that it's holding my weight, and then I'm going to pull in. I'm going to get stepping as fast as I can. As soon as I'm as high as I can be, I'm looking for my next placement. I see another nice placement here, and I can almost get to that bolt off that placement. I'm going to use the other ladder this time. And again, I'm going to clip my ladder to my thumb loop, stand on it, put some weight on it, check to make sure it's good. I see that it's good. And transfer that to, I put it on the thumb loop of my totem, but it can also go to the beaner. Because I don't need that placement yet, I'm going to back clean it, re-rack it, and save it for later. The reason why I'm not gonna be on a piece of pro yet is because I'm about to get to this bomber bolt, which will actually be my first placement. So I'm there. I am not gonna bounce test this bolt because I know it's a bolt and it's bomber. Now I don't need to use my alfifi here because I should be able to just stand up and clip my ladder into the next piece pretty nicely. So I'm gonna get ready for that. And I'm just gonna climb up my ladder, balancing on it, reaching up and clipping. Climbing up my ladder. I'm gonna go a little higher so I can get my actual bolt clipped. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna get my bolt clipped, and I've got a good first piece in. I'm gonna go there. Like I said before, I'm not gonna bounce test bolts because bolts are bomber. I'm just gonna grab that, climb up as fast as I can. All right, now I'm gonna be cleaning this next piece. I skipped a bolt, but I am gonna now back up this bolt and formally clip in. I'm caught on something. There we go, standing right on my ladder.
The ladder attached to your gear loop?
It's something that's connected. Oh, it's my alfifi. So notice that I'm still bracing myself with features of the wall, and I'm trying to top step as high as I can. I'm not alfifi'd in, I'm just balancing right now. Take my ladder, get it clipped. Stand up, clean that ladder, get it up high, climb, climb, climb. Clip this bolt. Now,
Silly how close that one is.
yeah. Now, because I don't want to waste my time, I can go ahead and just get a draw, clip that in now, and you can see that even though there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts in this, I only clipped 3 of them. You don't need to clip every single bolt. All right, so now I'm gonna be getting to actually the crack. So now I need to be a little bit more thoughtful about the pieces I pick and weighting those pieces. So this is where I start using my fifi quite a bit more. Because I can stand up, I can get as high as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
And I can find what places I need. So I might as well use a big piece right here.
You don't want a micronut above it?
That's a piece placement I would use. I'm gonna clip that. But before I commit to it, I am going to just put a little bit of weight on it. Watch it. Okay, I like it. It's a good piece. I'm not gonna spend too much time looking at it because I can already know that that's a good totem placement. Yes, it's a little bit wide there, but I'm not too worried about it because I'm gonna get another good piece up there in a sec.
And you got a bolt
Plus,
right there.
I have a bolt that's right below me. So
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I can see I've got a pretty good like totem placement right there. So I'm gonna use a black totem. So I can see that it's gonna be the perfect size. I put it in there and I see those cams move a little bit. I like to see that cam move a little bit when I let go of the trigger. That means it's not gonna be over cammed, and I give it a quick little pull, because notice that it moves a little bit once you weight it, right? So that's just a quick little pull. Take my ladder in, pull my alfifi. Now the proper place to put your alfifi is not actually up here. I know that. You're supposed to do the gate of your ladder, but on some placements where it doesn't really matter, I don't really worry about it. If it was a piece that could, that needs to always keep this directional pull down, like a cam hook, I for sure would go into my beaner. But on a cam sometimes where it can be multi-directional, then I do go high. To each their own. So that's a perfect example there. That's what I want to show.
Yeah. Show.
Okay. If you're not top stepping, your alfifi is going to hang low. It doesn't matter if you have an alfifi or a regular fifi. What you want to see is this. You want to see that fifi hook slide up.
On the spine of the carabiner.
On the spine of the carabiner. This looks a little bit smaller than a totem placement. I'm going to maybe look at my red cam first. I look at that and I saw it move, and I don't like that. It needs to be a little bit bigger than a red C4. So I'm gonna go to a black alien, because that's about the same size, very similar. And I like that placement just a little bit better. I like that. It didn't move as much, and it's still within that nose to 90 zone. Now, I'm not gonna clip to the sling. I wanna get as high as possible. And on this placement, because it's a smaller placement, I am gonna test it a little bit more.
I'm gonna back up, that's what I was gonna say.
Test it a little bit more, because cams can still pop, right? So I didn't wanna fully commit to it just because it was holding. So guess what? Gotta go up a little bit.
In size. Yeah. I didn't know you were gonna do that.
Yep. I wanted a good example of it popping just because it's holding.
Yeah, I had a feeling, so I backed up.
All right, that's a much better placement. That's one I like. So again, I'm still gonna test it. Low heel first. Good, I like it. Maybe a little bit more. I really like it. And I can move on. I don't want to look at it directly while I'm bounce testing it. I wanna kind of keep my head low, because as you saw, it pops out. And you would want it to hit it on your helmet. You don't want it to hit you in the face, like that last video where I got all bloody. All right, so from this placement, I'm already pre-seeking my spot. This seam kind of ends here, but I see a nice placement off to the left, so I'm gonna kind of focus on that, and this is gonna have to be a high top step. So my last placement is still quite a ways below me, but because I like this placement so much, I'm really willing to push on. Now my goal is just to get to here, and I like that. 0.5 placement.
Yep.
So I'm gonna get my 0.5, see how it's just a little bit too big at first? Put it in, and that's a really nice placement. I like that. Notice that it changes once you pull on it, right? So you should be pulling on that cam. Oh, I like it, that's perfect. This is not the piece I'm gonna be clipping. Instead, it's my previous piece that I'm gonna be clipping. Take the ladder off. Clip my rope into my piece. And then I'm gonna venture onward.
And you do that because it's straight up and down. If you're about to go left or right.
Correct, I would throw a sling on there, but it doesn't need it because it's very vertical.
So right now he has 1, green 2, bolt 3, bolt 4, bolt 5. And yeah, super safe enough, nicely spaced out.
I'm gonna see if I can get into the top seam where there's an old piton scar. The totem's placement, because the lobes fit perfectly where an old piton sat. There is a lower spot below it. I could have got a placement, but again, if I can get 6 inches, just like every other girl, she's gonna get 6 inches.
Oh my God, that wasn't that good, but you tried.
I tried. I saw an opportunity.
And you screwed it up.
All right, so see how if I would have just got to here and I was afraid to top step,
Yeah, yeah.
The highest I can get to is here. By being willing to top step and letting that thing slide, I can place here. There's also a bat hook opportunity right there. I like that. If I don't want to fully put weight on it yet, but I want to put some shock on it, you can grab your ladder and just pull down on your ladder. That can give a decent test first. Put some weight on it. I love it. Great. Move on.
Clip where you want, man.
What?
Oh, do you not clip here because it would slide up otherwise?
Exactly. You would slide up into your plastic, and that's why if I'm going to be top stepping, I definitely go into the beaner.
Yeah.
If it's just a placement that I just need to get in and pull down on, then I go with the thumb loop. Here's a point of strategy I'm looking at now. I'm looking up the whole rest of the route, and I can just see thin seams, thin seams, thin seams. This is a perfect place where I am okay leaving this 0.5. I'm going to leave this piece here now and clip into it as well, because I don't need that size probably the rest of the way. And I have one more just in case. Because it's a little bit off to the left side, I'm gonna put a sling on there. I'm gonna clip it. Now, this could definitely, if I fell backwards, I would end up flipping upside down, so I need to have good feet management and get it out of my way.
You leave the carabiner on the cam.
Yep, always. Every beaner, every cam's got its own beaner and it stays there forever. And every one of my Alpine draws has two, unlike Ryan. Ryan has one on each sling. Again, differences, but mine's better.
Yes! Ah, fuck yeah, you're so smooth when you shit talk my stuff. I love it. All right.
You don't know what's coming, right?
I know, I don't. Just like I don't know when you're gonna blow a piece.
Ooh, just like most women.
Oh!
All right, so again, I'm gonna try to top step that, get a nice blue totem in there. I like that. Oh, need a little bit of hip distance so I can adjust that fifi a little bit. Nice.
That's where this button to push that open under tension is so nice.
So nice. All right, I'm gonna transfer this and you can jug. Between these two pieces that I look at here, I see that this one's a little bit more of a flared placement. This one is a much bomber placement. Because most of my weight's all of my weight's on this right now, I'm totally cool with just cleaning this piece completely. And I always take my cams, if I'm gonna be re-racking them, I try to find out where on my rack they are, so then when I'm scared and flustered, I can always find the cams I'm trying to find.
Yeah, staying organized is so important.
Right there is good. It's good. Looks like it's gonna be a little bit hard for me to get a cam in that. But I'm gonna try. I think black totem might be for the win here. It sure is.
Well, it's a black totem. It's always the win.
Black totem's got my heart. A black totem. That should be their jingle. This is another way that I kind of test my cams, or my weight. Before actually even fully placing it and getting weight on it, is I can kind of use my alfifi as a little bit of a 2-to-1, maybe a little bit of some force on it. But it's not the same as actually true bounce testing.
So you're testing it here. You're kind of shit testing it while you step up. You're heel testing it, pull testing it, bounce testing it.
But I'm doing it all, I'm not doing it like at one step, one step, one step. I'm doing it kind of like all at the same time, but it's based on the piece, right? If it's not a good piece, I'm not gonna commit right away, right? If it's, and this is C1, so C1 is just like plug a cam and step on it and it's good, right? Does cams still pop like I had a second ago? Yes, they do, right? So it's still good to know what's a good placement and what's not, but it will speed up that process. You'll see probably I'll get on a piece that I get scared on, and I'm probably gonna be a little bit slower on how I get my weight on it. I see a thin seam cracked where I could maybe, instead of placing a cam, place a cam hook.
This is the blue totem of cam hooks right here. I'd totally get on that.
All right, so I put it in there. I gave it a really quick little pull test. Take my ladder, get my ladder on there, and then I take that off. Okay. So again, I'm gonna still really test this thing first.
I'm gonna look at it.
Yep, just because I got to see how it's rotating at first. Yep, I like that. So I got all my weight on it now. Now, where I'm gonna put my Fifi is not on here because it would slide up and could pull the cam hook off. I did not bounce test it, if you noticed that. To test it, I dropped my heel and I really just slowly put my pressure on it. I did not bounce it or pull on my ladders up and down, because it could just pop this out. This is just held with friction, no actual like mechanicalness. So I like that. I'm gonna go clean this. I'm gonna clean that totem too, make this even scarier.
Andrea is gonna have the most uncomfortable belay if she.
Yeah, she's not gonna like that. So, the cool thing is with the cam hook, hopefully this doesn't pop when I do this, is by clipping it to the beaner still, I should still be able to top step.
Yeah.
Now the key here is you don't sit back hard because you don't want to pull out the cam. You want to keep the pressure always pushing down on that, so it rotate nice. Oh, that's a very nice placement for one to stay. On our front four. Oh, that was a scary C1 move. Is if I get scared, right after that, I don't have to always wait to clip this piece. If I want to, I can pull this up and clip it, which is also another reason why you're not clipped into that bottom loop and jamming everything. I have the ability to still clip if I need to. It just doesn't move you fast.
Yeah, but if you're already on it, it does nothing for you.
True. Yep. But I know that that is my bomber piece, and I can keep moving. At least I had a really good piece. Because if you look at the distance here, this is still a good probably 10, 12 feet. It'd be 24 feet of falling, if not including rope stretch.
Or Andrea getting lifted.
Or slack. Yeah. So it would be a good fall. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get it in because I don't want to hurt my belayer.
So my debate to that is that literally gives no value until you like have to commit to the next piece.
Totally.
So top rope leading can really like actually add. If it popped right now, you have this much more rope to fall.
I would not have clipped this though unless I actually knew it was really good. Otherwise, sure. Ryan's point of like, if you've got crap gear that's not gonna hold you anyways, there's no point to clipping this.
Because that's what's gonna make you fall is it coming out.
Yep, but this is gonna be a piece I'm leaving anyways. So I'm
no gear fear, baby.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking at a really thin seam. I had an opportunity to place here. I'm gonna see if I can go really high. Yep, I like that. That little bit, that's an extra foot I whole reached. Now, because it's a smaller cam, I am gonna test this one just a little bit more. Good, that passed my test there. Maybe put a little bit of weight on it. Drop the heel. I still have a lot of weight on my bottom heel though. My bottom piece still has a lot. I like it, move on.
Yeah, man, play with your nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some contact right there. It's probably bomber than every piece except your bolts.
Yep. So, ladder onto that. Now you don't want to put your Alfifi on that, even though yes, it would get you higher because you'd be pulling up against this, which is just plastic stitching. So make sure you're still going up on your beaner. Thin seam, right?
Yeah,
Don't get deceived. High top step. Bomber placement.
How did that get so big?
I drilled it out with my hand. Actually, no, so that's like an old piton scar that probably over time of people hammering it in and then hammering up and down, and then funking it out. So check out that section of this episode on how to funk out a piton. That right there is one of the reasons why we don't use pitons anymore on a route that can now go clean. Back when it was the normal ethic, which there are still a lot of routes in America that still use hammers and still use pitons, but that is because there is no other pro that works for that yet. And key that I said is yet. As soon as it goes clean, most of the time people try to stay to that ethic of keeping it clean.
Good.
So Ryan, ask me, how many black totems did I bring on this route?
How many black totems did you bring on this route?
Hey Ryan, I did not bring more than 2 totems on this route because I keep back cleaning them because they're so good.
I'm gonna get out of the fall zone in case you say that and get wrong.
So I'm gonna use the walls to try to get up a little higher since it's starting to kind of kick me back a little bit. But I can get into this placement right here. Got a micro nut. Nice big seating of it. Don't be afraid to seat them because you're trying to save your life a little bit. So don't try to be that friend that just like barely puts them in. So then it's easy for them to get it out. Be a jerk to them.
Yeah.
Could get a nut in there, I could get a cam in there. Cam hook time though. Blend between the two. Okay. To get on it, drop my heel. Do I like it? I like it. Moving my alfifi up though, but I am not gonna fully weight it yet. Even though I know I could. I just want to kind of show like how you can be delicate. There we go. I can put a little bit more force on it, transferring some more of my weight on it. I'm gonna trust it. I'm clipping my brass nut, my RP. Now again on this, I'm not gonna go like crazy on it, but I am still gonna try to top step as best I can. Beautiful sizes. Rakitaki, the voice of the outdoor reason. Andrea, I am almost to the top, so you can go ahead and get all of your stuff bundled up and ready, and I'll be at the top in the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Roger that.
I think that's super helpful if they're like chilling too much.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm at a section where I think I can start going free. So what I like to do, because this is where I could make a mistake still, is I like to just go ahead and clip in. Doesn't hurt to have that, because usually that transition from aid to free can be a little awkward because you got to get your ladders kind of out of the way. It's easy to trip on them. Your personal anchor systems are a little longer, so it's easy to catch them, especially on my knee pads, and throws you off. So I like to, right before I go free, get clipped, get going. I have one ladder, so I'm going to show how I pack this up because I never showed this. So if I'm going to be going to free for quite a few distances, like, I don't know, 10, 15 feet, I like to grab the last ladder, skip a ladder, and then this 22 kilonewton sling that's sewn into this goes up. What that does is it gets it really nice and neat, and I clip that up high so it's out of the way, and then I pull in my personal anchor system so it's not going to get caught. Now the next one's a little bit harder because my weight's on it, so I'm going to have to reach down once I make a move here. So I'm going to go out of my alfifi, clip that up high, make my move, and then while, oh, can you see this fine?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna reach back down, clean my ladder, get it out of my way, and if I need to, just throw it over my shoulder, and then I can go free. That way, things aren't getting tangled by my feet, trying to stay organized because it's easy to screw it up there. Well, I'm at the top of my climb, so I need to build my anchor now. All right, Andrea, off belay.
Belay is off.
I can hear her loud and clear.
It actually is pretty freaking nice, honestly. Okay.
All right, so what I'm gonna do first here is fix my rope. So I have my super figure of 8, so I actually have 4 strands. So I'm just gonna clip 2 of them, so I have redundancy. I'm gonna pull up quite a bit of rope. And the first thing I'm gonna do is actually put my alpine butterfly on there and fix her. Because that's my very first thing I'm gonna do. And then for myself, I want to go ahead and give a backup to her, so on a clove that I can take off later once she's done unweighting it. Cool, that's all good to go. I'm gonna get ready for my haul kit now because she's good, and I could say to her if I wanted to, Andrea, lines are fixed. So then she knows that she can go ahead and start working on stuff. And then I'm gonna pull out my haul kit and get ready to start hauling. So again, I'm gonna be looking at where the teeth are, so when I start pulling, it's gonna pull. I'm going to pull out nicely. I'm gonna clip it up as high as I can, which I'm okay hauling off one bolt because right now it's backed up with the other one. And what I need to do is I need to go ahead and start pulling up all of the rope to me. So I'm gonna use my little saddle here to try to stay nice and organized.
This is a lot easier than doing it on a plywood wall.
It is.
It's harder to fake it.
Real deal. Cool. So I can feel that the bag is tight. And again, I'm not gonna haul any more yet until I know that she's ready for like undocking, putting stuff back in the bag, food, anything that she wanted. And right now I'm gonna try to stay organized with the rest of this rope by just putting it in a sling so the wind doesn't catch it. Let's go here. And getting it up and out of the way. Okay, then what I need to do is I need to go ahead and get attached to this so I can actually body haul or whatever it's called. This time I'm gonna use my gree-gree. I'm not gonna use a mini traction or a nano traction just because I can. All right, so even though I put the haul kit on the right side and the route leads to the left, the route actually finishes to the right. So again, this is where it can be sometimes confusing, is just because the route starts to the left, you need to think about where does it end? And the end of this route is on the right side, which is why I docked and hauling on the right side. All right, Andrea, ready to haul.
The bag's ready to go. You're good to start hauling.
So I'm gonna go up and sit down, up, sit down, up, sit down, up, sit down, up, sit down. And this is what you get to do for the next 2 minutes. All right, so I'm at a spot where I want to rest. The reason why I want to rest here is actually not so much for me, but to get my haul bag.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's both. It's both. Let's not lie. All right, so this is a chance for me to kind of catch up on all of this.
You rest by doing something else productively.
Yep, you're not just,
Sitting there.
I'm gonna vomit, hang on. Give me time to get off the haul bag and
say what I can't
can't
use.
haul yet because I'm too tired and I'm gonna vomit. All right, that was good. Lengthen that out and I get going again. All right, I gotta catch up here.
If you think it's super helpful to see A to Z without too much being cut out, so you understand all the little details that we might not have articulated clearly, tell me so I know to do this again.
It's a lot of work.
I don't want the videos to be an hour long, but I think this is pretty helpful.
Yeah, honestly. Like if I was doing my first big wall, there's little details that no one would have taught me that I just wish somebody would have. And it's leave it up to me to skip, right? Like, honestly, yeah.
Yeah, it's your job to skip if you want to skip. I could make a 5-minute entertaining version, but like no one's gonna learn anything. Yeah, make it happen. Yeah.
So one downside on the gree-gree when it doesn't always catch.
Yeah. Because if I had an ascender, it's like, as long as you keep your thumb on the trigger to lift up, oh man, it's butter.
It's butter. So is the micro traction, so is this. Yeah. And so is the classic old clove hitch. Readjust.
No! Just tell everybody that's how it's done.
All right. Oh. So I'm at the bag. Before I deal with this, I want to deal with this and get this nice and neat, because then I can move it around. My partner hasn't even started jugging yet. It's been an hour. I just want to give a shout out to my favorite climbing partners, to, the whole Fargo crew up in Fargo, North Dakota. So Paul, Eric, Ben, Chris, Todd, everybody up there. Yep. And everybody's wives too. So ready to dock my bag. I dock it high. And I'm actually gonna steal Ryan's method for how he does it. So pulling the bag up as high as possible, cinching it, moving your mule overhand.
Yeah, it's nice to have the videos of detail on this, but then to see you actually use it in action.
Yep.
It's a nice balance.
Look at this. We are stealing a little bit of everybody's systems because we realize that our system is not always the absolute best. So I can grow a little bit and say that I learned.
I learned a lot.
So what I just did there, bag is docked, but now I need to transfer the weight from the haul kit to the docking strand. So I pulled up my gree-gree a little bit so I can push the protraction up a little bit. And here's what I like about the gree-gree, is I can actually just lower it with the gree-gree at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. For the other 99% of what you had to do with it, it sucks.
All right, so I took it out of the haul kit. Immediately, right away, it's not one motion of taking it off. It's off, new, on, starting at the other end, starting at the top again. So it's ready to go.
And that goes on the next leader.
Yep. So because the route is going to be going off to the side, I'm going to make sure to get it ready so that they can see it.
Hold on, careful.
I know. I want to bring that up.
All the red flags in my mind.
Yep. Here's the issue, is I went underneath the strand as I moved the haul kit over. And here's the problem, is this would have been fine to be underneath the strand if it was going, the route was also climbing to the right. But because the climber is going to be climbing up, and then the bag eventually has to go tight, notice that it's going to wrap around everything as it would get hauled away, right? So I just hosed myself in that case. So I don't want to go underneath. Instead, I want to go on top. So then when they climb, everything is nice and clean and untangled, and it will go to the right just fine. So make sure you're looking at how you're setting things up so you don't hose your next climber or yourself. All right, so I'm at a spot now where I can just kind of relax a little bit. So this is where I oftentimes like to take a beaner, get all organized, and clip it up to and out of the way so I can just take that off and relax. So the entire time that I was hauling, my follower was also jugging the line that was fixed, and which was the line that I just led with and clipped all of my pieces into. Their job is to jug up, clean out all the gear, and we should be arriving to the anchor around the same time. And the reason why you want to be doing it roughly at the same time is because the follower can yell up to me, "The bag is stuck, hang on," and they can pull the bag away from the wall if it got stuck in roofs or hung up. Sometimes it's helpful for them to tell you before it gets stuck too bad. Sometimes it's fine for a little hang up because the hauler could maybe haul just a little harder and it undoes it and it's just fine. But it's good communication and good backup for them to help you out. So now I'm gonna film Ryan while he jugs up the line.
Bag is free, starting to jug. This is a dynamic rope. I put my arm as high as I can, I pull it just a little, maybe a little bit more, and then I wait for that train to go by. So if it's steep, I'll step in the bottom one and sit in the top one. So you can see how much distance I lose sitting. If it's not too steep, I can just walk up the thing. and step in 1. Left hand, left foot up. Right hand, right foot up. Now, I'm not gonna sit back to unclip a bolt. I'm just gonna do it. And sometimes I like to put my hand right here to slide it up. Jeremiah's bag is stuck, so I'm kind of in a hurry now. And I want to help free that for him. So I'm just going to leave that piece right there for just a second. If you don't need to, it's nice to not have that dangling there. So come up here as soon as I get to that quick draw, and show me what's going to happen next. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm just going to not think, oh shit. Get the point? Plan in advance. Stay cognitive. Think about what you're doing. And if I want to sit, stand, sit, stand. Now, good time to bring up, I'm only clipped to 2 things, right? I'm not tied into the end of this rope. Now, I'm not going to take this off and move it up above this for my lower out without being tied in somewhere. And I also don't want the rope to be swaying too much. So this is going to be a fixed rope because we're leaving our portaledge there tonight. That's completely why I forgot to take it up with me. But even if that's the case, the moral of the story is be clipped in somehow. And Jeremiah took all my lockers. So what I'm gonna do, use my gree-gree and just be clipped in and not drop my gree-gree. Just in case, okay? Now, in order to pass this, because I can't get this off, the route is, the route's too steep. I'll just go with me on this. Get ready, grab that, put it above, flip, and then I can sit here, I can open this, and I can lower myself off until I swing over if I was not going up something straight. Now that the tension's off of this, because I did that, I can clean the piece. Don't drop these. Let's say if I tension that up all the way and then I try to ascend again, I'm gonna look like I'm new. It's not working. This system sucks. It's literally people say, you gotta have the slack to push it up. You gotta have your foot low enough in this thing to not be stepping on it when you lift it up. So I don't want it this loose because then you have to stand up to get it. And then I'm stepping in my own cinder. Think about it, right? Somewhere in the Goldilocks zone. This one, you wanna be able to step high, right? I can step that. That's what the colored one usually is for me on this 8er. Keep that loose. It's not holding my weight. Put my hand right there and sit. Oh, there's mosquitoes here. Oh, fun fact. There's not very many bugs halfway up El Cap. So I'm gonna have a hard time getting this out because there is a little tension on this. But I don't have to take this off to put it above. I can just grab it and unclip it, push that up so I can sit, and then I'm not, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I'm not keeping this from coming out. But you don't have to do this extravagant ascender thing every time. If you're willing to swing and it's low angle enough to get that angle, you can like pop it off. I'm trying not to swing into you, sorry. If you're afraid to swing, it's gonna take you longer to follow. This is really great practice on a one pitch thing. I highly suggest you do it. Now, if I'm gonna go up the way I was, it's kind of steep, but I can do this. Oh, keep your pressure a little bit on your feet so your feet don't fall out of the 8ers. Off, try and clip that. Check this out. I can go a little higher. Guess what? Bigger steps, bruh. Oh, lost my foot. Big old steps. Big old steps. Now, the distance of this matters on the terrain you're on and where you step in these also. Find your Goldilocks zones depending on what you're doing. Now check this out. I can't reach the nut, but I could unclip it if I want. So let's just get up a little higher. One option I could do is to pull up like that, but I won't do that. So now I got to make Jeremiah's nuts drop. And so you can see it's stuck in there because he weighted it, right? Free climbing, you don't necessarily do that unless you fell. So it's not going to come out, but it's nice to be at the height of what I'm doing so I can work on it. I'm going to try to pop this out, and I don't want it to just fall. So I'm going to keep it in between, but I had to get my cinder above to make this happen. Now my nut tool is utilizing the cable from Rocky Talkie. You can use it for Rocky Talkie if you want, but I love it for this. Anyways, there's a little notch here, and I'm going to set it right there, and I'm going to give these little nuts a tug. Ow. If that's not working, I can take my alfifi as a hammer. If it's not going out with my hand, boom. Finally hit Jeremiah's nut good enough, and he finally came. Thanks, bud. Have your fifi back. Okay. Smooth is fast. Fast is fast. How's that phrase go?
Smooth is fast, and smooth is slow is smooth, and smooth is fast.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So don't try to always run if you're just gonna stop a minute later. Just try to stay smooth. Okay, so let me explain to you about Jeremiah's tiny nuts. He placed it in there deep enough to be solid, but not so deep I can't get it out. I like where that is. There was a spot to do that. And I know that he went from the top down. So we're gonna jiggle, 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 jiggle his nut. Oh, sorry, camera. Okay, another point I wanna make is how does the next person want this rack? If I'm gonna be leading, I know I want my totems in the front and I could start vertically stacking them. Otherwise, I'd put them on a sling and then I would bestow that sling upon Jeremiah so he can put it where he wants. Or I could clip it to the anchor and then like, I'm not just handing him stuff all the time. So I want this gear on my left and I'm mindful of this kind of stuff. Now, quick draw, I'm gonna set where my quick draws go, but the nut doesn't have a home yet. But luckily I have a few spare beaners and I can take these nuts and keep them together until I can help them find their home. Boop. Go like that. Blue on blue. Good job, dude, leading that, dude.
Thanks, man. I was scared.
Bomber. Or, hold on. I think we gotta go down, man. This sucks. How are you gonna show up? He's your only friend for a couple hundred or a couple thousand feet. So,
I thought you were gonna say days.
he's your only friend for a couple days. I have arrived. I am now going to rest for 5 minutes and catch my breath. Jeremiah is also shaking his head. I'm gonna take my personal anchor, make sure it's not underneath anything. Rope management, I'm gonna clip to the, pick your flavor, something bomber and redundant, like the anchor. So now I'm good and leaning back on that. My next one is to go like this. Now I'm still tied to the rope. It's a long fall, still tied to the rope. I'm not clipped to one thing, okay guys? Oh look, a chain. That looks bomber. Since I'm gonna be the next leader, route goes off to the left, guess where I am? On the left. Try not to have your partner show up on the right if they're going that way. Now, he wants to flake the rope for me while I rack up. So the way I do my aiders, clip the second from bottom loop, works super good enough, and I put it on my junk drawer, gear loop. Take the next one, I'm gonna use these soon, so I'm not dumping them for the night. And then I take my ascenders off, and I don't drop them because I take them off proper. And take it off proper. Now I'm gonna keep both of these on me while I lead. I use one to haul. It's okay for me to just keep both because we're moving fast, whatever. So I'm off Jeremiah. What do you need from me?
Ryan, what I need you to do is I need you to go ahead and take the gear sling and rack up whatever you need for the next pitch.
Okay.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling up the line you were just fixed to and start flaking it so you're back on top.
Okay, so I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna take this super annoying chest harness. Honestly, if I was Big Wally with Jeremiah, I would probably just adapt to some of his systems. He would adapt to mine, so we're not trying to like fight two systems all the way up.
Yep.
But now I can take off what I want, and I could clip to me, whatever, and get, he's gonna have my rope ready. He's already done a good job with the haul line. It's ready to go. So technically, if I go like this, I'm ready to start leading on my little string attached to my haul line. Test, 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 test. And the protraction's already on there. I love that. Anyways, this is the sharp end. I might as well start tying into this so I can start climbing as soon as he says I'm on belay, and then he can get comfy. Climbing rope.
Yep.
Said you're on belay. Or I'm on belay. Haul line, we made sure it has no clusters. It's going straight to the coil of rope and then to the bag. And I'm gonna take my personal anchor off as soon as we're done filming. I'm gonna start climbing. I got my personal anchor, these top loops. I got my aiders in this bottom part here. And my Fifi is down here, and I'm gonna clip to one of these things. And it's very different than Jeremiah. And you can see that in the How Not to Lead episode. I'm not gonna show in this video because we've shown you A to Z of an entire pitch ready to go up the next pitch. And I'm excited to share with you that this is not the end of the Big Wall course. This is a small part and the beginning of the Big Wall Bible. I'm really hoping that you guys shoot, please not with the GoPro, find a friend, shoot top down, or shoot in your house, demo what you have, what's on your rack, how you poop in a bag, literally anything. I cannot wait until you guys contribute your information that we can just add as a separate video clip, not like a main channel episode. We've got more episodes than we can upload right now at this point. But there's no limit to what we can add to this massive complex blog system that points to each other so you can find exactly what you want. And this is just the A to Z overall umbrella of everything you're about to read in the Big Wall Bible. Jeremiah has spent a week of really good weather on his summer vacation off to make this course with me. And we've been planning a long time to make this course. And the Canyon Rope System course was literally me practicing on how to make better courses for this ultimate course I wanted to make. The next one's going to be ice climbing, because we were in Iceland and we already filmed that. And the next one's gonna be highline rigging, which was originally why I started this channel. I'm excited about that. And then rope jumping, because I need your guys' feedback as I make this A to Z content. If you like this slow release on the main channel, the interesting thumbnails, the independent titles, makes it so people can find it. And then once you realize you're on video 5 of an entire series, I think it really helps people know it exists like an encyclopedia. Doesn't mean everybody watches all of them, but I hope you found this somehow and you can share it with somebody that you know is trying to big wall, because I want their experience to be a lot better than mine. I had so many bails and failures that were dangerous, and I want people to be successful. It really sucks taking all the time to pack all this up, get excited, and fail.
All right, you ready to climb this next pitch?
No, I forgot my headlamp.
That's right. All right, we should just set up our portal edge tonight.
Oh, sounds good.
Is that just perfect with the underwear hanging out there?
Yeah, that's some. Oh my God. That's a real nut plug right there.
Yeah.
That's a fucking good B-roll, if I say so myself.
Moving up, moving up, moving up.
Want to turn off your headlamp? It's a little deceiving.
I'm worried I was gonna get benighted. If it wasn't for this director. This time I want you to shoot this with a little bit more energy. Rescue? I'm checking to make sure that the bag needs to be on the right side, because the next pitch is actually going to be going off to the left here. So I need to make sure the haul bag is on the right side. No.
You're gonna replace that piece just because it's such a fucking great shot, dude. Like the lighting, everything's just getting me off of this wall.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're getting horny watching people try climb, right?